So last night I went to watch Obsession at the theater, which was odd for me since I'm not a person that goes out very much, if you couldn't already tell, and I go watch movies even less. But the amount of glazing I was seeing for this movie was getting a little annoying. The constant barrage of people online, mainly TikTok though, just hooting and hollering that this movie was the scariest thing of all time. Oh my god, the backwards walk from Nikki! This movie will make you shit so hard you will fly out from the roof of the theater! You know, that type of thing. And there was also the glowing reviews from a bunch of people, and also the fact that this movie was directed by a YouTuber. But not just any kind either. It's a channel that is not known for horror specifically. Curry Barker was unknown to me before watching the movie. I had no idea what he was known for or what he did. But since we already had a track record of YouTuber movies being fire with Iron Lung and the Raka Raka movies, I was already more interested in experiencing this movie. And so I went to the theater, got my overpriced popcorn, sat down and experienced, and I just want to say, wow. This movie exceeded every single expectation I had for it. It was by far the biggest surprise for me of the year, and honestly one of the exceedingly few times I didn't feel completely robbed of my money for tickets. Because this is the type of movie you just have to watch in theaters to get the full experience. Now, to be honest, there are some drawbacks. Unfortunately, I got hit by a stupid beam and decided to go on a Friday, which means the theater was packed and I had to deal with a bunch of motherfuckers that looked like this. Which meant that obviously there wasn't a single second of silence from any of those stupid assholes during the whole runtime of the movie, and anytime anything of any relevant significance would happen, you just know those motherfuckers were right in your ear screaming, completely ruining the moment. However, if you are strong enough and you are able to push through that initial inconvenience, you will find an incredible piece of horror media. Like, I'm gonna try and avoid some spoilers for now because if you for some reason haven't watched it, you really should. This movie is a masterclass in how to make someone uncomfortable. The first 30 minutes or so of this movie is just the most embarrassing set of events you can think of just happening to the main character, Baron, or Bear, how he is referred to for most of it. There are very few movies nowadays that can make you feel uncomfortable on purpose without them being just bad. I'd argue it's more effective than the traditional type of horror it goes for in some parts. That's not to say that traditional horror is bad, because it really isn't. When the movie wants to create tension, it absolutely does, and in a very effective way. Now, is it the scariest movie of all time, as a lot of people say on TikTok? No, I wouldn't say that, but it definitely is a scary movie. In fact, this movie does something very interesting, where it mixes its scary moments and horror with comedy. Like, it will have a very tense and unnerving set of events, but then it will be undercut with something funny just to ramp up the horror again and catch you off guard. Maybe it's something more movies have done, but I don't know about any as of now. I want to move on, and it's crazy right now that I'm talking about how the movie is without even introducing the premise for the people who don't know. The main premise of this movie is extremely simple. It's basically a guy who likes a friend of his, a coworker, but he doesn't have the guts to tell her, and when he finally tries sort of to explain how he feels, it fucks it up. But since he got this thing, this one wish willow that apparently would grant you a wish, and so he wishes for her to love him more than anything in the whole wide world. And if you know the monkey's paw or the theory of it, which, by the way, just to clear that up right now, it doesn't seem like that's how the wishes work in this movie. I just think Bear made a horrible wish. He just worded it really badly. Like, if he had just said, oh, I wish Nikki would give me a chance, like, I feel like everything would have been fine, low-key. Well, maybe not fine for him, since we'll get into this a little bit later, but Bear is a bit of an asshole. That is, like, again, I'm ranting a little bit. I'm, like, jumping all over the place. I'm not following any kind of structure because that is just how good this movie is. I'm just yapping. But yeah, Bear is the main character, obviously, but he is sort of not somebody you want to root for. At first, kind of maybe you might feel bad for him in a few situations where you feel, you know, the secondhand embarrassment for him. You do want to root for him, but as the set of events go on, as the movie progresses, and you kind of see the decisions this man makes constantly and the pain he's putting Nikki through, you just realize, nah, this dude is an asshole. He is taking advantage of the situation. I do know some people might not see that and probably just don't have the media literacy to get it, even though it's pretty damn obvious. I mean, Ian, who is like basically Bear's best friend, spells it out for him multiple times, and he's not the only one. Other characters also spell it out for him. It's pretty damn obvious he's kind of just taking advantage of Nikki and the unfortunate situation she's being put in, which is just torture. But yeah, getting back to the main point. The main premise of this movie is extremely simple, just a wish gone wrong. And I feel like that helps the story because since the premise itself is so simple, it takes the time to explore every little aspect of it. And I just love to see how so much of the horror in this movie, it's not things that are completely unrealistic. Now, obviously, some things are played up because there is obviously a supernatural aspect to it. But a lot of the moments where Nikki is just like going crazy over something Bear said, and like the screaming, and like specifically that scene in the bed where she just yells, "Stay!" that type of thing. It's like things that a lot of people might have gone through something similar in just straight up obsessive relationships, which makes the horror hit in a kind of way that not a lot of horror movies do because it hits at you. It hits at a specific part of you. But you know what? Fuck it. This is your spoiler warning again. If you have not watched this movie, please do. It is worth it. It is an amazing movie. I'm just gonna start getting into spoilers and start talking about some things that I wanted to point out. Now that we're delving deeper into spoilers, I want to first touch on this very little scene. It's not very long. It's near the end when Sarah, who I will talk about very soon, it basically tells Bear to come to the park because she has something to tell him. And he's trying to sneak away from Nikki while she's sleeping. And it seems like while, I guess, the possessed version of Nikki is sleeping, the real Nikki is able to speak and basically just begs Bear to kill her. She just says, "This is torture. I can't do anything. She's sleeping right now. Please just kill me. Take me out of this." Which, when I first saw it, I was like, damn. I honestly, I didn't know if to even believe it. If that was just like the actual fake Nikki just like playing with Bear. Which, I mean, it wouldn't really make sense given the context. But, I wasn't thinking straight at the moment. But still, it's a very interesting moment, especially to see how Bear reacts and how he talks to her. He basically he's like, "Why did it? Was it so hard to date me?" He says something to that effect. And that in that moment, before there was already quite a few hints and quite a few red flags about Bear as a character, but that moment solidified, yeah, this dude is an asshole. Like, he is literally being face to face, well, technically not face to face, but directly confronted about the pain he has inflicted, whether willingly or not, into Nikki. And Nikki herself, the supposed woman he loves, is begging him for help. And he's just spiteful. He's just like, "Well, why didn't you date me then?" It's like almost like she deserves it just because she didn't give him a chance. It's low-key crazy. It just makes him look like a fucking incel. But yeah, that's a little scene that I feel like is so important for the whole context of the movie, and I don't see anybody talking about it. I mean, obviously, it is, most people's brains are just TikTokified to the point we just talk about the hype moments in aura, and I guess when it comes to a horror movie, it's just the jump scares. Which, that's something I also want to point out. That whole scene in the bedroom, the go back to sleep, like oh my god, bro, that I still remember when Bear still woke up and he was looking away from the bed. He was looking like into the room. I could not find Nikki, bro. I was darting my eyes everywhere, and when she finally spoke, my shit started quivering. I was like, what the fuck? That whole scene, masterclass, absolute top tier horror. And the fact that it also, like, near the end undercuts it with just funniness, it's so good. Curry Barker, again, just showing so much potential. YouTubers are so good at making movies for no damn reason, or maybe there is a reason and I'm just too stupid to understand it. Anyways, I want to take the time now, 9 minutes into this fucking yap sesh. I didn't think this movie was perfect. It was amazing. It was great. I loved it. But there is a few small complaints with it. The first complaint I want to start off and talk about right now is the character of Sarah. Now, I don't hate the idea of her character, and I don't hate her performance or her design, anything of that, because I think all of that was actually done pretty well. I think the movie just didn't take enough time to develop Sarah into the basically narrative tool she should have been. Her whole place in the movie is as like the person Bear should have chose. Like, oh, you shouldn't have like tried to been tried to go with Nikki so hard when you had, you know, such a good woman, Sarah, right here that actually liked you and actually cared about you. And so after the whole thing with the wish happens, and through after Bear and Nikki have been together for quite a bit, or at least that's what the story says, we get these like few scenes where out of nowhere Sarah is just like way too close with Bear. Like there's this scene where they're in the shop and then she just lays her head on his shoulder, which, I mean, dude, he's in a relationship. Those types of scenes like that, I get why they happen, because you do kind of have to set up that idea that, you know, Sarah would have been the right choice. I don't like how it was so rushed though. It low-key made me look at Sarah kind of like a weird person, which I guess it isn't weird since basically every main character in the story has some issues and they're not like perfect people. But in this case specifically, I think we could have done without that. And then when it came to the actual scene, where again we are in spoiler territory, when Sarah dies, it was so obvious to me. Like the second I saw the text pop up saying, "Oh, come meet me at the park," I was like, "Okay, so she's gonna die." Then when he sat in the car and they started talking, as soon as she mentioned, "Oh, college, whatever," I was like, "Okay, they're gonna open the letter and it's gonna be she got accepted, and then Nikki's gonna come in and kill her." Those moments like that, I feel like they were a bit too predictable. But honestly, I didn't think it did much to harm the movie. But that's basically how it goes, or at least that's as many complaints as I have with Sarah. There is another complaint I have with the movie though, and that is, it's sort of a complaint. Again, I love this movie so much. It's not a full complaint. It's more or less the ending. It's again the fact that I felt the ending was a bit too predictable. From the moment the guy in the customer service, which by the way, that whole idea of like the One Wish Willow having a customer service and it doesn't even do anything, like the guy's just there to basically make fun of you. The moment he said, "Well, you have to kill yourself," I was like, okay, so Bear's gonna die. That's just how this is gonna go. I assumed Ian was probably gonna die at some point since he's, you know, like the best friend side character. Sarah, I knew she was gonna die because she was gonna get in the way of Nikki, and since this is a horror movie, and even though it's not like usual slasher horror, I knew there was gonna have to be some kills. I just assumed. I basically like already laid out in my head how at the halfway point of the movie how things were gonna go down, and that's basically exactly how they were gonna go down. The only thing I didn't guess at the end was like that little twist where since Bear got a new One Willow Wish, Nikki, or at least possessed Nikki, ended up using it, but since Bear had already taken pills, he overdosed and died. I actually thought they were all gonna die, not just Nikki surviving, but I mean, I guess it's fine. Either way, though, in my head, she might as well be dead because, bro, she killed Sarah. There are multiple witnesses from the party that saw her doing crazy shit. Not only did she kill Sarah, she killed fucking Ian with a gunshot, which was pretty damn loud. A neighbor must have heard that. Like, what is she gonna do? Even if somehow the police don't straight up give her the fucking chair, like, she will never recover from the trauma and pain she endured during those weeks. So yeah, she might as well be dead. If anything, it's worse that she's alive. But yeah, getting back to the main point, I found the ending to be a bit predictable. Not a bad ending, just a bit predictable. And in my head, I sort of hate when movies are predictable, but this isn't really a fault. This is just a nitpick. Honestly, this whole thing is just a nitpick because this movie is so good. Oh, I completely forgot to mention the soundtrack. Oh my god, the soundtrack was so damn fire. So now I don't think there's that many songs. I haven't checked actually. I probably should, but I felt like a lot of the tracks were being repeated, but it was so good. The soundtrack in this movie, it's kind of like Minecraft music. It gives you that kind of same feeling as Minecraft music, but it's twisted in such a specific small way that it just makes you unnerved. At some points it is cute and it is used in cute moments, but god, it is just so masterfully crafted. It's such a good soundtrack and it helps with the vibe, which is what the soundtrack should do at its core. Then there is also the lighting. There were so many scenes, specifically with Nikki, where she is just shrouded in darkness. I think it had, well, there's not that many, but there's like 4 or 5, where she is just talking or like looking straight at the camera and it's just dark. And you can't even make out what her face looks like. And it's like the movie baits you into looking more into her as if there's gonna be a jump scare. Thankfully, it never happens because that shit would have caught me off guard. But god, Dude, I'm telling you, I want to keep yapping. I could probably yap for 20 more minutes about every single facet of this movie, but it is just so good. If anybody, somehow you find this video and you haven't watched it, please watch it. I would say pirate it, but don't. Honestly, Curry Barker deserves every cent, and everybody who worked. Dude, the performances, how did I even forget that? The performances from the main characters. Indy or Ind Navarrete and Michael Johnston, which is Nikki and Bear respectively, absolutely knocked it out of the damn planet. Their performances were masterful, bro. Honestly, I feel like Bear and by extension Michael Johnston didn't get that much, like that many moments. Like obviously he has more runtime than he's the main character, but he didn't get that many moments to truly show his acting chops. He did get a few, don't get me wrong, there's quite a few moments where like his acting is insane, but not quite like Nikki. Nikki has so many moments, bro. This woman is so fucking talented at just making you uncomfortable. She makes you uncomfortable in a way I didn't think it was possible. The amount of facial expressions, the amount of ways she can twist her voice, God, absolutely masterful. I need to stop yapping because I am just gonna kill myself talking here. Please watch this movie, support the team and the director and everybody who poured their ass into it. This movie deserves a quadrillion dollars. Amazing. So far, the best movie of the year. I don't know if it will be. I am very hyped for Backrooms. But yeah, if you watch this whole fucking 16-minute drill, thank you so much. And subscribe if you liked it. Thank you for your support. I love you, all of you. Have a great day.